One of the most important things you can do to get the most out of your Myers-Briggs assessment. What I'd say was when you're answering the questions of your Myers-Briggs assessment, you're going to find that there's a lot of similarities between the two answers that you're given. So there's always going to be, you have to pick one or the other. And it's going to be hard. Some of them, it's really difficult to answer, but you might be thinking, well, sometimes I'm like this and sometimes I act like that. Like, which one should I pick? They're both so close. I can't really decide. What you have to do in that moment is think to yourself, how am I naturally? Like, what would my most natural reaction be to whatever the question may be? So whether it's trying to figure out whether you're introversion or extroversion preference, they're going to try and figure out which preference you are and judge you based on that the answer that you give. So what a lot of people do is they make the mistake and think that, well, because of work I act like this, that maybe I'll put that. When actually that may not be their natural preference. So for example, me, I'm an ISFP. I like to go with the flow. I don't really like things to be locked down. I feel a little bit stressed if I know I have something coming up, because it means that my whole day has to be planned around that, or at least that's how I feel. And I kind of feel a bit limited. So I don't really like having things locked down in my schedule. There are other types that love that, and they thrive on that. But for me personally, I don't. And recently, since I've had children, and especially young children, I found that I have to be a little bit more organized. I have to be a little bit more routine oriented, because that's what they need. They need to have naps at a certain time. And so I've become that way, and that may make me appear to be more of a J preference, or the judging preference, which is more organized, having things planned out, going step by step, sort of knowing what you're going to do. Whereas it's not that my personality has changed, it's just that circumstances around me have made me behave differently. And my preference is still to go with the flow and not really follow a routine, but I've had to change because of external circumstances. So you have to sort of differentiate between, am I doing this because this is how I really would react, or is it external circumstances forcing me to be a certain way? So for example, when you're at work, you may need to act more extroverted, because that seems to be what is more valued when at work and in the office and so on. That may not be who you actually are, or what your preference is, or what you're comfortable with. So you have to try and answer as if you don't have any obligations, don't have any external pressures, no family around you. You have to answer in a way that, what would you really feel comfortable doing? What is your real natural preference? And which option would be the least amount of effort for you, or requires the least amount of effort for you to do? Because that would be your natural preference. Natural preferences should come naturally. They should be easy. They should be effortless almost. Just like if you have a preferred writing hand, let's say you like writing with your right hand, be able to learn to write with your left hand, but it will never be your preferred preference. It will never be the easiest thing for you, or the natural way that you'd write. You'd still, if you had the choice to choose between your left or your right hand, if you're naturally right-handed, you will choose the right hand. So that would be your natural preference, even if you can learn a different preference. Follow for more MBTI personality types and cognitive function tips.